Welcome to another episode of 8 Degrees of Yes, as we share FBA Black history in the belief life structure. The presentation is a testimony of lived experiences of a FBA woman born in 1950. She testifies to a life of hardship without the benefits of welfare and overcoming her circumstances by joining the United States Army. She faced racism, misogyny, discrimination, abusive relationships, and became a single mother of 4 children after her husband committed suicide. After she was honorably discharged from the military, she served veterans at the Veterans Hospital in various states for over 20 years and now is retired. She shares her story with her daughter to pass on to the next generation. In this episode of 8 Degrees of Yes, I am Dr. Truth Akins.
Jim Crow with signs around the city, around the town that said whites only, and then signs that were said black or white. Like even in the Greyhound bus station, you had a black side and a white side. You had the regular side and you had the black side.
Was it even like in Cotton Plant, when you grew up in Cotton Plant?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That was in Cotton Plant. That's where it was. If you wanted to go to the fountains, the public fountains that you drink out of, they were white only.
Oh, yeah.
So if you wanted your water, you had to take some from home or take some with you if you were walking down to the little town. I mean, the town was little. It was a tiny little town. So, but if you were going down there, you gotta have some water and something, or make you drink a lot of it before you go. Yeah.
How many people lived? Oh, you had to drink a lot of water before you left?
Well, either that or take some with you. I mean, we had car. If you were driving down there, it's a different thing. But you had to walk on the other side. You made sure you walk on the other side of the street so that you don't bump in. Like if you see there's a white person walking on one side of the street, you make sure you walk on the other side of the street. You don't chance like touching somebody or something.
What? That's crazy. Because today,
what happened to the kid that she said that he touched her hair or something? Emmett.
Oh, is that the Emmett Till story?
This Emmett Till. He was in Mississippi though, but so these men came he was visiting actually. He's from Chicago, I think. But,
okay, so when you moved to Indiana, everything was like desegregated then.
Okay, so no, it was desegregated before because they were desegregating at the time.
Okay.
But we had not in Cotton Plant yet. This was after because we got married in 1967, which was probably a year or two maybe after these 9-year-old kids had gone into the Little Rock school.
You mean Little Rock 9?
Little Rock 9, where they spitting on them. So that was the first segregation right there.
So you went to school in Cotton Plant up to your 16, so you never got to experience what that was like? You were always in segregated?
Not in high school, not in junior school. I always went to, but our school was, it was a regular school.
Sounds nice.
We were segregated, but it was it was. It was much nicer than what I saw like in Chicago afterwards. After the schools once they were unsegregated, the quality went down in like the black neighborhoods.
Well,
so first thing, and I think they had started desegregating before we left Arkansas. But anyway. But we were only there for a few months before we actually left because his dad finally told him that, he couldn't continue to live at home.
Okay, so what happened? So the story is that you guys left Arkansas, and then you guys drove to California.
They had relatives there. You know about the relatives there, right?
Yeah, I got to meet them.
So
okay.
we went and stayed with her in where did she live? I think she might have lived in Bakersfield. First when we went to California, we went to Bakersfield. We stayed with I think it was his cousin or his aunt or something, I don't know. But we stayed with her for about 3 weeks. She let us stay there for about 3 weeks, but the thing was, he didn't want to leave me alone or with anybody else. He figured, I think he always thought I would try to run away, but I was too far away from home to run away at that point. Once we got to California, I think that was his goal. There, along with her or anybody. Which he had to for a couple of times, but he would change job. Until he found a job cleaning office. We worked for a company that cleaned offices. At night job.
All right.
He found a job that we both could, where he could take me along. They would hire us both.
Okay.
That's what he was looking for, a job that would hire us both.
So you both were working. What was that like, working?
It was not pleasant. But that was mostly because of your dad.
Yeah.
Okay, the first night we went to work there, we're cleaning offices. They send you to, they say, okay, you clean this part, you clean this part, you clean this part. Dude send me to clean the bathrooms.
Okay.
Women's bathroom, men's bathroom. It didn't matter. The office was empty. It was closed. There was nobody there.
I wonder if it was the DMV. I bet it was the DMV.
Yeah, it couldn't. But there was nobody there but the cleaning crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in there doing my job. I'm cleaning the men's bathroom. He walks in there and slaps me so hard that I fly across the room. This is what it was like for me. And it was because he comes in there fussing, and I said, I'm just cleaning. I'm doing my job. I'm cleaning. And he just, what difference does it make where I'm cleaning? I'm cleaning where I was told to clean. And then, because I was cleaning the men's bathroom, because it's in the bathroom, men's bathroom, cleaning the men's bathroom, this is why he hit me.
Did you ever work together with him picking apples too?
Yeah. Picking apples, grapes, whatever. This is why, because of course we got fired from that job, no company's gonna take that kind of behavior.
Right.
So the next day we set out, but we couldn't stay with his cousin anymore because, we had to go. She said no.
Right. Too much violence. They don't want to deal with him.
Exactly. Nobody's going to deal with him. Exactly.
So maybe we can.
So we got in the car and we started driving and picking fruit. We would stop, pick fruit. We'd stay, after a while we'd stay in the hotel or these little things they have that you out there on the property that you can stay in.
Like a little shanty, like a little shack.
Mostly a hotel or something, because you pick all day and then you got enough money to. He get all the money. I work right alongside of him, but he gets all the money. He never gave me money because he didn't want me to have any way out.
Right.
This man knew he had basically kidnapped me from jump.
Yeah.
After 4 kids, he needed help financially, right? He needed more money coming in because his job wasn't doing it, wasn't taking care of everything he wanted to do. We were already living in Indiana. Okay. And so I had asked him, from time to time, I would still ask him if I could go back to school or if I get a job, I can help, that kind of thing. I'd be very careful about how I ask for any freedoms. And so he did I got a job, first of all, working in a rubber factory in LaPorte. I would work evenings because I would be home with the kids during the day, and I could go to work in the evenings, and he would be working in the daytime and be home with you guys at night in the evenings.
Was the rubber factory, you worked with white people?
Yeah.
What was that like? Did you have any problems?
No, actually, it just found out how crazy white people are.
What you mean?
Because you're on the line, you're sitting on the line, right? You're trimming the edges off the rubber. You got a machine there. You're trimming the edges off the machine. That's your job. It's a monotonous job. You just do it. You just trim. And you got these other young white people. Okay, integration was a thing then, but we were also in Indiana. It's not like being in the deep south, in cotton plant, in Arkansas or somewhere. These people in Chicago, Chicago, Indiana, these are places that blacks had gone to because they were already segregated.
Okay.
And so now we were in Indiana because his brother lived there. And so once we came from left California, we went to Indiana.
So you're trimming off the trim. And how do you know that white people are crazy, Lisa?
Because you're having conversations with these people.
Oh, like what was some of the stories?
I grew up an only child. And so these people, they would be talking about their childhoods and how they grew up and other things that they did. And just crazy stuff that we didn't get to do as kids. Their childhood was like so different.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Like sisters and brothers. I grew up an only child, so I didn't have any sisters and brothers to fight with. But they would tell me about how they would fight with their sisters and brothers and stuff like you guys did.
Yeah.
And so the blacks got just as crazy, but we weren't, just when we were kids, there was so much stuff we weren't allowed to do. Yeah. And so talking to them, I was already an adult by now. And, but talking to these other women on the line, or sitting across from me doing their work, I was like, wow.
Wow.
I was like, wow, that's crazy. And it's the way they would talk about how their siblings, them and their siblings would fight each other when the parents were at work and stuff like that.
Okay. How long did you work there?
I worked there for 3, I don't know, might have been like a year and a half or something, maybe 2 years before I got laid off. I got laid off because they were, cutting back on the work. These kind of places were going out of business because things were becoming automated.
Okay.
And people weren't working in these places anymore. Factories and things like this were, fading away. But anyway, got laid off because, we had shortage of jobs.
Okay.
Last hired, first to be. It wasn't even a fire, it was a layoff. Like they would bring you back if the opportunity came up.
Okay.
But so anyway, once I was laid off, I went and got a job as an aide at the hospital.
Okay. Did you have to finish school to do that job?
No. As an aide, because I had work experience, they would hire me. It was just an aide. It's just like a nurse's aide. They train you there. Go there, everything. They trained you how to be a nurse's aide. It wasn't like patient care or anything. Basically cleaning up, doing what the nurse told you to clean up stuff. Basically helping the nurse with.
Ancestors, elders used to tell their stories and wisdom to assist the youth in finding their path and find courage. We stop focusing on what was taken and begin to focus on what was given. 8 degrees of yes. ancestors, elders, used to tell their stories and wisdom to assist the youth in finding their path and find courage. We stop focusing on what was taken and begin to focus on what was given. 8 degrees of yes.